Where do I begin? You know, the tragedy of the loss of life in a school shooting is horrific. For the parents, for the community, it's hard. We and me in here, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please pass it around. Maybe we can try to get something into this. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm only here to say what I had believed for a long, long time. People don't want their schools to look like armed camps. I got that. I understand that, okay? In my time, there was no such thing like this. I mean, we had a shotgun in our back or a truck, we went to the school, we did our thing, we went out and we went hunting that day. It was no big deal. Even the teachers doing this. And we had gun safety and things like that always going on. Today's world's not like that. If we can arm and secure our state and federal government buildings, why can't we do it with schools? Whether it be a public school, a private school, or high school, or a college. Now, the law enforcement of that state did everything they could, and I tell you what, the response was exemplary. No doubt about it. Taking down the shooter was extraordinary. Outstanding work. And that's where that ends. That's where it ends. When it comes to the politicians, I don't know where their head's been lately. All they worry about is taking something, banning something. We're going to ban this assault weapon because it's a weapon of the battlefield. The AR-15 is not a battlefield rifle. Fortunately not. My M14 is more a battlefield rifle than that is. But that's something totally different now. This person planned this attack. Took time. Knew the school. Went to the school. But like I said, if we can put all the security in our state and federal buildings, one of the schools, we put all this money in. Their money comes from the counties, it comes from their school boards, wherever they get their money from. But to put real good security, you need federal assistance. Now, the problem here is the federal government wants to give out money to countries overseas and wants to give out money to some goofy organizations and whatever, and these anti-gun war groups. But when it comes to safety of your schools, yeah. So the schools don't have enough security in them. Now, if you worked in the government building, worked in the state government building, you will know the amount of security is there is awesome. I mean, it is awesome. You'd have to be a complete lunatic to try to get one of these buildings. Because these people train, they train heavily, and they're prepared. But in these schools, people are saying we don't want our children to be subjected to fear, and we don't want them to be subjected to this and subjected to that. You have to really not understand the world around us. There are a lot of mean people out there. Whether they use an incendiary device or they use a firearm, there are some bad people out there. And we need to do more. Much more. These people can come up with all this money. But when it comes to the state and these counties and these districts, they're only limited what the taxpayers can afford. And it's not their fault. They've done everything they could. But where are the state governments and where is the federal governments? All they want to do is jump up and down, beat the drums. We need more gun control. That's it. That's their answer for everything. You get 6 knife attacks at a school. Oh, we need more gun control. You get a bomb threat. I mean, think about this for a minute. These people, if they didn't use any type of AR or any type of firearm, and they decided really determined to get people, they'd use every other means possible, and they would do it. If they're that hell bent in killing somebody or killing mass people, it'd be horrific. Now, in the classroom is confined. It's a square room by so many feet by so many feet with one door. It's a confined area, and a lot of damage can be done. The politicians need to quit this nonsense of gun control, because gun control is not the issue. You had all these red flag laws designed for this sort of thing. Background checks, and added more background checks, and added more background checks, all really designed to go after the Bill of Rights. But unfortunately, they didn't work. Now, my research just came through here. All these background checks and all these red flag laws did nothing to stop any of these school shootings. None of them. Nothing. But they're designed to go after law-abiding citizens. Meanwhile, it's the innocent people that pay the price. Whether you be a firearm owner or you're not, you pay the price. Because all politicians are worried about is the quick, easy solution. Let's ban everything. There it is. Now re-elect me. Look what I did. Or they'll sit out there behind a podium and blame the Republican Party, or to blame the gun organizations, or to blame the factories. They'll blame everything, but they will not take that finger and point it directly at their own selves because of their own negligence. You can supply all the money around the world for other countries that hate us, organizations that hate us, and anti-gun groups. But when it comes to these schools, for some reason, they're not on the list. These counties, these districts can only do what they can do. They don't have the kind of money for the security they need. Whether you be a private school or not. You politicians up there in Washington can sit there and beat the drums all you want about gun control, but will you really pass some real organization or some real type of legislation that will say we need to put money in these schools for their security? That's just common sense. I mean, it's just what it is. It's like, you put more red flag laws. Did it stop? No. More gun control laws. Did it stop? No. More background checks. Did it stop? No. But yet people say, when does it end? When politicians quit pointing the fingers and sit down and make some real legislation, let's get the funding up, let's get security in these buildings like we do in our federal buildings, Washington buildings, state buildings, the courthouses. We got a lot of security in all these buildings, but none for these schools. You figure, as precious as they are, very precious, that they would really sit down and say, we need to get smart here. You got to think like a criminal. I mean, if that person didn't use a firearm, could have used an incendiary device. An incendiary device in a small room. you wouldn't want to know the devastation it could be. It may not be an AR, it could have been a shotgun. My God, you don't want to see the devastation. But again, it's the same thing. Let's just point fingers. There's a lot of work that can be done. Cameras, secure doors are a step in the right direction. But you need more. And these districts and these counties can only afford their taxes that they have. That's all they can do. They need federal funding. They need federal help. You want to stop mass shootings? Make it difficult. Because this person went to another place that we're going to play it, but saw the security around and changed her mind. And I wonder why. You think? This kind of hatred, because for whatever personal reasons there are, is unacceptable. To lash out in pain and agony is one thing. But to lash out in pain and agony, to inflict pain and agony to someone else, or to commit suicide, which is what it appears to be, to point across something is totally wrong. It's shameful. And that blame lays back on the gun owners. Not on the politicians, on the gun owners. And the anti-gun people just suck it up. The president goes down there, he sucks it up. But when it comes right down to real legislation, they're out to lunch. They're worried about the next campaign. They're worried about going after somebody else or dragging somebody into court. Let's get real. Let's use our brains a little bit. Think like a criminal. If that person couldn't do that, they could have used an incendiary device, like I said, and do 10 times the amount of damage. Unbelievable. And I'm telling you something, the criminal mind, whew, how can I say it? The criminal mind is always working. And if that person wants to commit murder, they'll do it. They'll find a way. They'll do it. Destroy a bus. Whatever it may be. Let's get down to real seriousness. We're all Americans here. Those young children are Americans too. They deserve something. They deserve something better. They deserve good security. They deserve to be able to go to school and not have to worry about a threat. These politicians want to do something in Washington? Well, there's your chance. Get up off your lazy backsides, quit pointing fingers at each other, and do something. Let's stop this mess where it starts. You got all this money you want to hand out? Well, that's a good investment right there to hand out to. Until then, keep your friends and family close and do not be afraid to defend yourselves. And let's do something for these kids besides lip service. Let's do something. God bless them all.